Hey guys, welcome to Nifty World. I'm Bex, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking all about keeping not only your NFTs, but your crypto wallets safe and secure as well. Joining me today is going to be one of the co-founders of Junkyard Dogs, who is also a cyber security expert. And we're going to take you through the A to Z's of what security really means in this space and so much more. So if you've ever wondered what a seed phrase is, or even what we mean when we talk about external wallets, stay tuned. There's going to be loads of great stuff for you. Now, as ever, if you like this video, then like the video. It's as simple as that. Press that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and also press that all-important bell so you get notified when more brilliant videos come out that will help you learn and educate yourself about the NFT space. But for now, let's dive right in. Okay, guys, so joining me right now is number 9. You might know him as 9 from the Junkyard Dogs, but actually his name is Tommy Wynn, and he is not only one of the co-founders of the Junkyard Dogs, but also a cyber security expert, which is perfect for what we're talking about today because, well, Tommy, this is like, you know, with the huge kind of growth of NFTs, suddenly we've seen this surge in scamming, haven't we? So it's a big topic to cover. We've got a lot that we're going to get through today, which will hopefully give a lot of people a bit of sort of, I suppose, security in their own minds that what they can do moving forward is going to be a lot safer for them and their NFT purchases, and also protecting their NFTs as well. So we've got a long list. Thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem.
Let's start with a little bit just about you, though, very quickly. Your role within Junkyard Dogs and also your role outside of Junkyard Dogs is obviously in cybersecurity. What is it that you do for Junkyard Dogs at the moment?
Yeah, I'm mainly just kind of focused on operations and a little bit about public relations. You know, I'm one of the Discord mods with Chef, and we kind of just tag team and help out the servers and onboard new members into the junkyard, and kind of just you know, just we're the shillers. We push junkyards and promote Junkyard Dogs.
I think you're doing an okay job, you know, just a little bit. And also it's probably one of the reasons why the community has roped you in to come and talk to me today, but I really appreciate it. And then outside of that, you work in cybersecurity. So what do you do in that area?
My job for cybersecurity is mainly in sales. Just kind of demo products and just kind of go through our solutions, and pardon me, we just kind of help customers with their system and figure out what solutions are best for their current environment. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. And then bringing it back to kind of where we're at the moment with NFTs, have you seen like a big surge in security issues around the world of NFTs? Because I was doing some reading recently. It was saying that Opensea, as a great example, has seen more sales take place in this last month of August than it had in the last 6 months. So when something like that happens, obviously everyone gets really excited about something like new technology like NFTs, but so do the scammers, right? So they're already on the case, aren't they?
Yeah, they're flooding in. I mean, when there's something new and people are unfamiliar with, they're going to find ways to exploit it and take advantage of that situation. And so there are a ton of people, clever people just coming up with these creative, sneaky scams that people are just getting exploited by. And it's unfortunate because let's say, for example, you were talking about Opensea, we're going into Opensea to ask for help, and then all of a sudden you get this DM from somebody that you think is helping you, and they're actually looking to exploit you.
Yeah, because they're labeling themselves as, so I think one of the big areas is kind of customer service facade that they put on, right? And they pretend to be someone from the Opensea direct messaging team or support team, and they try and help you there. Also, I found that there are a lot of scammers that you find on Discord. So someone will come in as part of the community and say, hey, you know, I'm here to help as part of, and I'm not, you know, this hasn't happened on Junkyard Dogs, which is great, but, you know, you'll see it on others where someone will step in and go, oh, I could help you with this. Why don't you just DM me, right? So customer service is a huge issue with it.
Yeah. So unfortunately, this was probably a little bit before you entered the community, but we actually had an incident where somebody was impersonating Gravy, Junkyard Gravy. and he was going around DMing people, asking people for some funds. And I think I don't think any people within the community was affected by it, but unfortunately, somebody from our team actually was, he had just woken up and he got that message from Gravy, and then he decided, like, okay, yeah, I can help you out. Just sent a little bit of money to him, and it wasn't Gravy.
Wow. Okay. So that's,
Yeah.
God, that's quite scary. And actually, there are things which I think we can look at from the obvious, like someone's going, please give me some money because I need some help with my NFT. You kind of know through common sense not to do that. But are there any kind of scammers, when you say they're really clever, are there any scammers that have been like doing quite conniving tricks to get people to part with their details?
Yeah. So I just want to piggyback again on the Opensea one, where they're acting as the support team for Opensea. There's a channel for Opensea for support, and you'll hop in there and you'll ask your question, and then later on you'll get a DM saying, "Hey, I'm from the Opensea support. What can I do to help you?" And then they have a professional photo, professional picture. You have your mutual server that you'll see on their profile, and then you'll kind of initially get that trust because you think it's professional, it's Opensea, and then to start asking you questions, probing you for information, and sometimes people get caught, sometimes people don't. Mainly, it's just they're impersonating your profile picture, making sure they're joined the mutual servers that you're in, that if that correlates. They try to, I guess, impersonate the way the person speaks or types. Most of the time, I would say the space kind of, I guess most of the people speak pretty similar, in the way their lingo and their slang that they use. So they kind of try to use that and impersonate individuals that are typically seen in the space. But yeah, they're just literally they just try to make it look exactly like the person. Profile picture exactly the same. And yeah, it's unfortunate.
Really scary, isn't it? Yeah. And let's move on to kind of the second point that we wanted to bring up, which was social engineering. And I had to look this up because I didn't really know what this was. So the dictionary definition of this is malicious activities through human interaction. So this is kind of like psychological manipulations. Does that kind of link back to what we're saying with the customer service and people kind of stepping in as those fake representatives?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it works. They just kind of go in there, make sure that they build your trust first, and sometimes this doesn't even have to take a few minutes or hours. People will work, and if they're targeting an individual that they know that has a significant amount of NFTs or funds, they'll spend weeks. They don't mind spending weeks or maybe even a month to build your trust, figure out who you are as an individual. And then, when the time is right for them, then they're just going to pounce on that moment and try to figure out a way to either get your security keys or some kind of information, make you click on a malicious link, and then just install that malware into your system, and it's over. It's very sneaky.
Yeah. And you know what, so on my Twitter, for example, I get a lot of people messaging me now and kind of going, hey, love what you do, would love you to check out my Opensea collection. And I don't even know which ones are real and which ones are fake, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
hard. So I just don't click on anything. And I feel like I'm not like responding to any of my audience in that way.
I feel terrible that I feel like I'm avoiding a lot of people's DMs because everybody's always like, hey, check this out. And if it doesn't pop up with like, whenever you put in Opensea or a link to Opensea or Twitter, there's usually an image that follows suit, right? That gets popped up. If there's not an image, I don't ever click it. If it's just a plain link with nothing, I never trust it. There's got a lot of characters in there. You don't know if that combination of characters leads to an official website or anything. So I feel bad that sometimes I just don't answer people's DMs, but it's for your safety.
Absolutely. But it's kind of, you feel like it's counterproductive for your community, right? Because you're kind of wanting to help people, but not. But you know what, hey, look, Tommy, if you receive a DM from me and it's got a link to one of my YouTube videos, you know I'm being real, okay?
Yeah, I got you.
You got me,
Yeah.
right, good. So social engineering, that psychological side of things, people spend either a lot of time kind of grooming you in a way, which I think is really worrying. But also there's kind of scammers that are focused on a lot of people during the minting process, right? Or in fact, when a when a new NFT drops and people are scrambling towards that kind of minting phase, because that's when people let their guard down. You know, you're all rushing because things can sell out in seconds. Have you noticed that that's been an issue as well?
Yeah, during that whole chaos, right? It's just nothing but chaos during minting. And so whenever people are scrambling to pick up things, you know, especially in the Discord server, if people are clicking on links in the server during that time, there could be malicious malware hidden within those links during those times of chaos, right? And then people are also, let's say they're losing out on gas.
Yeah.
There will be people that will DM you and, you know, try to impersonate somebody that's probably trying to help you, but in reality, they're trying to just exploit that situation and just take more from you.
Yeah. And so what would your advice be? I mean, as every step of this conversation that we're having, I want us to kind of outline the problem, but also let's look at some of the solutions. And, you know, you guys at home, you may find that we repeat a few things, but this is going to be applicable to all these different types of scams in some way, shape or form. So if we go over stuff a few times, just know that we're kind of being doubly protective of you in that respect. So when it comes to social engineering and this kind of psychological manipulation, what can we do to kind of try and protect ourselves in this kind of way?
Yeah, just so we don't get too technical and just kind of keep it nice and easy, is just kind of what you grew up, your parents telling you to not trust strangers, right? And then not enter into areas that you don't know about. So it goes to not trusting these random people that are trying to, you know, the crazy thing about NFT community, everybody's so helpful and everybody's willing to help. And so these people are going to take advantage of trying to impersonate those individuals. And so you will want to trust these people, but unfortunately, you know, you can't trust anybody on the internet, right? And so just being very cautious of who is trying to help you. Never click on links. I always go the long way, and I always try to find the official website or try to go find the official collection. And I never click on links if people provide. Even some people on my team, I still don't even trust it sometimes, you know, because they might not know, you know, they might not know that this link was sent to them. And sometimes malware isn't initiated immediately. Sometimes when you click on it, it'll wait for a little bit before enabling or activating that malware. That could be maybe a couple hours from then. And then once it's in their system, and if they send it to me, I can click on it and then it'll just move laterally into mine. So never click on links. You know, that's a 101. Right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's my number one rule, because that's the easiest way for people to get you is the links. Yeah. Right. So always, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I just wanted to interject there because you mentioned about, you know, sort of clarifying people's collections and making sure that they're real. So there's 2 points on that I just want to raise, which I think a lot of people may have, and I almost fell foul to these as well. So there have been collections that I viewed on Opensea, and I've heard through the grapevine that this is a great opportunity. So I've got to get in there quick. And there are obviously certain things that you can look for on Opensea to kind of give you the confidence, but there are definitely, with an NFT, it's easy for people to kind of screenshot and JPEG, you know, what the original artist has created, and then set their own page up as if they are the same artist and put that out there. And what I find quite interesting is a lot of people kind of are in such a rush because of the hype that they don't stop and kind of go through the back end of what you need to look for, which is it is not only looking at the buying history of the page, but also looking at who minted it, when that minting happened, does that correspond with, you know, the official channels that say that, and to make sure, and if in any doubt, is to actually just contact the creator and say, you know, is this legit? And, you know, like you said, the community is so helpful. And I've done that on a couple of occasions with NFT creators and I've highlighted to them that someone has got a fake out there and they've gone, oh my goodness, I had no idea. And lots of people, I think, will fall foul to that.
No, that's exactly, that's unfortunately what happened with Junkyard Dogs when we launched, right? Before we got verified, there was like four fake collections immediately after launch that tried to, and then it was just like for ours is Junkyard Dogs, and then there was one fake that's like Junkyards Dogs. They added an S in between, and then some of them were spaced out differently. And yeah, it's scary because they're quick. They're really quick with what they do, and they'll put it up immediately. So.
And what do you do to shut that down from a creator's perspective? How do you get rid of that?
So we immediately just contact Opensea, and then we'll always post in our announcements immediately if if that comes to our attention. We'll to make sure the public knows first, not to touch it, not to we'll post an image and a link to say, hey, this is the link and this is the image of the collection. Do not buy from this collection, and then we'll immediately DM a member from Opensea and then try to get them to take it down as soon as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good, because I think there's also as much as there are lots of buyers out there, there's also creators that won't know what to do if their NFTs get duplicated. So that's really good. That's really good insight for that as well. Because obviously you've been there, you've done that, unfortunately, but we can all learn from that. The other thing that I've found that I've been quite nervous about is when an NFT only does its minting through its own website. Rather than, I feel like I'm in a safe place with Opensea, right? Because I know what I'm doing there, but I'm nervous, particularly as we're seeing new ecosystems, the Solana blockchain, the Cardano one. I'm sort of being apprehensive in myself to not go through those direct channels of the marketplace. Is there any sort of words of advice about kind of what you can or can't trust when it comes to an NFT minting through their own website?
So just because it's so new, most of the time you would just have to make sure that the project that you're following, that you're wanting to mint, has some good credibility. They're a little bit more, they're transparent, right? You want to know that they are doing what they're wanting to do. It's kind of tough because there are a lot of projects that I know people got rug pulled. And they've looked so legitimate. They've had a great following. They've got good support from a lot of people in the community, but then it ends up not being what everybody expects. And so it's just doing a little bit of that extra research for the team, trying to figure out who's behind this project. Do they have any credibility? Do they with any other projects? Have they done anything else in the past? And you
can find that through like LinkedIn and things like that. You could find out about the people, or how do we get that back? Yeah,
so generally, the unfortunate thing about crypto is like most of the people are anonymous, right? We all kind of sit behind our profile pictures, but I know there's a lot of non-anonymous teams, and they have their stuff on LinkedIn, or they'll be pretty personal and public on Twitter. But it's just a little bit of your due diligence and going on to either Reddit, Twitter, and just trying to find as much information as you can behind them. And then also just little things you can look at is whenever you're looking at the URL address, making sure that it's secured. And it's when you see, for a lot of people that aren't technical, when you guys enter in the address for a website, you'll see HTTP or HTTPS.
Yeah.
So generally HTTP, a lot of the times those will be unprotected websites that don't have any kind of like encryption or protection, and they're more susceptible to malware or any kind of bad actors trying to exploit it.
Yeah.
And so if you see anything with HTTP, most of the time I never trust it, and I never go into anything that's HTTP.
So you need that S, right?
So find the S. If you see the S, it's more secure. So S for secure, right? So that'll give you a little bit more peace of mind. And then also just making sure that the URL is clean and short and clean, that doesn't have any other extended characters at the end, because there could be a lot of hidden
code.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So those things are like an underscore, an I, a dot, something like that, right? That's what we're looking for. Because I'm going to break this down into really simple terms, because I am already learning so much. I never knew. I didn't know about the S, right? So now I'm going to be like looking every time I see that, which, so thank you. That's really, really useful information. Now, I'm going to move us on swiftly to this, because there's something else here, which I had never heard of this in the digital sphere. We're talking about, well, I'm going to use a similar word, spear phishing, right? I know what that means in terms of rivers and actual fish, but what I don't know what I didn't understand is what it means when you put a pH in there. Okay, so spear phishing, but I did look it up. So it's a targeted attempt at stealing online information from someone. Okay, so how does this kind of differ from social engineering? Like both of them are targeted, right? Because that initial one is grooming, and the other one is kind of it's going towards the same goal, right?
Yeah, very similar. So phishing generally is just kind of like when you see in your DMs, for example, you'll see people just like, hey, there's a giveaway, you won this giveaway, you know, and there's a bunch of links. There's a ton of links in that DM, right? And so it's just more of less of a human interaction. There's no real engagement between the individual. It's just a lot of spam, like your spam emails where you'll just get a bunch of random links. That's exactly what phishing is. It's just they throw a huge net of bad links to try to phish anybody that they could possibly catch.
Wow.
And then spear phishing is more of a actual targeted to a specific individual. So it's more of a focus type. So let's say, for example, I know you have like 30 apes and I want some of those apes. So I'm going to, you know, specifically target you and then provide this either a DM or an email with some information, some way of you trying to click on a link that could lead to some malware being downloaded into your system.
Yeah. And actually on that point, what I want to sort of just highlight to people is that even if you're a beginner in this space, or even if you're more established, this can happen to you. And we've seen, excuse me, we've seen through Twitter that there have been some big players like that have had apes, they've had like, you know, pudgy penguins and some big NFTs, and they've had them wiped because they have basically, they've just basically fallen foul to all of this. So don't think you're being naive or stupid because you're just learning this stuff now. Just make sure you're being smart and being protected as soon as you can if you're entering the NFT space. I call it the Wild West because it kind of is, isn't it? Yeah,
it definitely is.
Yeah.
So you got to do whatever you can to just stay vigilant and being cautious of everything around you because it's just so new, right? You don't know any of these people in this space, you know, and there's so many people joining the space with so much money. People are definitely going to try to exploit it, and just doing your due diligence, staying cautious, and just it's secure. Cybersecurity could be daunting, but there's basic fundamentals that you've learned since you've grown up, right? And then I mentioned it earlier before, it's just not to trust strangers. Don't enter into areas that you don't know, and just stay away from links, and just be cautious with people you're interacting with in DMs and privately, you know?
Yeah. And maybe if you're lucky, like I've been, you might actually see the person in real life, and then you know, like, then you know you can trust them, which is great. So we've talked quite a lot about clicking on links. It's basically a massive no-no. That's just what you need to think. If you don't know the person, or even if you do know the person and you're just not sure why they're sending you a link, I think even when outside of the NFT space, you'd still kind of be a bit wary. Whereas even more so, you have to have your guard heightened just because of what's going on at the moment and what can be, you know, just keeping you on high alert, basically. Let's move on to external wallets. And actually, I know that from the Junkyard community, there's been a couple of questions that have come through about this. Shosho was asking about like ledgers, you know, how do we keep ourselves protected through that? Let's talk about what an external wallet is. I think you can educate me on this because I need to sort this out. But you know, what the benefits of an external wallet is going to be, where we can find external wallets, how it works, and why we really need it.
Yeah, so the popular wallets are Ledger. You hear Ledger and Trezor all the time. They're basically going to be offline wallets that will not have any connection to the internet. So it's a cold storage, and it's way more safe than having your stuff stored on your MetaMask, for example, because your MetaMask is going to be connected to your web browser. It gets connected to your internet, and it's more exposed to those type of threats. The only way you can really be poorly affected by an external wallet is if you forget your information, you forget your keys, you forget your security password, right? So, but it takes your assets off of the internet and takes it away from possible exploitation through either malware or people trying to breach your data and steal your data and information. So it's something that I would highly recommend for everybody to get. You know, you're spending hundreds of dollars on pictures of animals and stuff, right? Just spend a little bit, another extra 100 on the safety of those things, right? You're investing so much money into this. And so I know Trezor and Ledger, they integrate with MetaMask now. And so it's a little bit more convenient where you can have your cold storage and all your assets and your crypto tokens inside that. And then once you're ready to use it, you can just plug it in, integrate it with MetaMask, and then use it that way.
Yeah, and then you take it back out afterwards.
Exactly, and you just take it on. You're safe from all of those exploitations and those threats.
Yeah, and actually, I did a little bit of looking around on Ledger, and it starts at about $50, right? So
yeah.
Small price to pay. Does it work with the majority of wallets? You mentioned MetaMask. What about like Coinbase and things like that? Will it still work with all of those?
I'm not sure if it integrates, if they have that integration. I haven't looked into Coinbase. I know you can transfer your, your NFTs or cryptos from your Coinbase into those wallets.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure that if there's a computer user interface where you can use the Coinbase and the external wallets together. I know that MetaMask 100% integrates with it. I don't know if there's any like a Trust Wallet. I'm not too sure if they have any integration with it as well, but I know that you can transfer anything from those wallets over into your external wallets.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. And then another level of security. So external wallets is like we're moving away from the digital world and keeping stuff physical and tangible for you. Now, one of the things that I've seen scammers try and do is steal your seed phrases, which is a very worrying thing. And actually, I didn't realize the importance of what a seed phrase was. It was just, when you sign up for a wallet, it kind of goes, here's your seed phrase, you need to keep it. If you don't know it, blah, blah, blah. And I bet 90% of people kind of go, oh yeah, yeah, fine, it's somewhere, right? I've copied it somewhere.
Yeah. How
important is a seed phrase, and how, if we don't know where it is, how do we find it?
Yeah, I had some friends have during 2017 when crypto was booming at that time before it went down. People had all their stuff in their external wallets or wherever they kept it, right? And a lot of people from then till now lost their seed phrases, and they've still been kind of searching, trying to figure out how they're able to get into it. And I know a lot of people have given up, especially with your external wallet. You can't really do much once you lose that seed phrase and you can't get back into it.
Yeah.
There's not much you can really do.
Yeah, I did see that on MetaMask, there is a bit in once you're logged in within your security settings. And this is why MetaMask, I suppose, for very basic newbies to the world of NFTs is actually a really good wallet, because there is a way of recovering that. For other wallets, I'm not so sure if you can do that, but there, if you go into your two-step authentication, that's the word. Authentication, there we go. If you go into your two-step of that, I think after you go through that process, you should be able to get access to your seed phrases again. I know I need to go back into it and just double check that I've got mine. I've certainly got it for my Phantom wallet, but actually my Coinbase one, I'm a bit like, where is all of that stuff? But this is kind of a key thing that a lot of people need to have. And need to keep safe before they progress within the NFT world. Am I right?
Yes, I would highly recommend just writing it down on a piece of paper, and storing it somewhere that it's safe, that only either or maybe even put it into your bank vault, or somewhere really, really safe where nobody else can get into or you possibly lose.
Yeah.
If you lose it, like I said, there's no way, if there's a wallet app or a third party that isn't allowing you to recover that, you're kind of on your own on that.
Yeah. And just in case we didn't cover it just a few minutes ago, your seed phrases, when you set up a wallet, essentially, is a list of random words that is given to you, which are associated with your particular wallet. And therefore, if you were ever to lose it and need to recover that, it gives that wallet the details to know that you are the original owner of that wallet. So that's why it's really important. And these words are random. Okay, so there's no rhyme or reason for them because of security. So if you are setting up your wallets, make sure that you have that to keep that super safe. And as Tommy's just said, hide it. Don't even tell
hide it.
Favorite people.
No, I don't think I've ever told anybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even think anybody knows where I keep mine, which I should probably. I would say in the case of if something unfortunate happens, it is good to let at least a few people know that you really trust where they can find this. But yeah, don't openly share it. Especially people on the internet, please. Even if they impersonate anybody that's possibly trying to help you, never give out that information.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you on that one. Okay, right. So we've talked about kind of what things are concerning people right now when it comes to security and scammers and stuff like this. But obviously we are at such an early stage of NFTs. And that's exciting in many ways, but also quite daunting, because if the scammers are already so adept to doing everything now, what is going to happen in the future? Have you got some sort of predictions that that we could look at that may happen in the future? And it's kind of like ominous, isn't it? Because you're beating the drum for something bad that might happen. But I think it's important that we look to be aware of these things in the future. Yeah.
So unfortunately, these types of malwares are just going to continue to advance, and no malware is going to be the same. A majority of malware are similar in pattern and characteristics, but they're all going to be different, and they're going to continue to advance. And the easiest way for them to get into your systems is through these links, and mainly through social engineering. Though their tactics of social engineering will continue to get more advanced. There'll be teams. So not a lot of bad actors work in teams. They actually don't. A majority of them don't do. Some do individual, right? But a lot of people do it in teams. Just it's more efficient for them. They have different areas that they focus on. So different social engineering tactics will become more advanced, and they'll find different ways to impersonate people that you trust. And unfortunately, like I said, you're just gonna have to do a little bit more due diligence, and just be very cautious of the type of people that you interact with.
And is there anything that Junkyard Dogs is doing in particular to kind of help, reassure your community and your space? I know you guys are really hot on making sure. I mean, it's great. You guys have got a cybersecurity expert, as one of the co-founders. It's amazing. But what is it that you guys are doing to kind of keep the community, ahead of the curve on this?
I think it just starts with onboarding new members, people that are new into the space, right? They're so unfamiliar with everything, and a lot of the people they don't know much about the technical world. They just know what they're learning through, set up a MetaMask, how to buy crypto, how to buy NFTs. That's really the gist of it, right? They don't know how to protect themselves or keep themselves safe from all these threats. So it's just onboarding new members, providing resources for them. I would love trying to currently work on creating a Medium article for new members to kind of navigate their way through this NFT space, what to look out for, and providing information on how to spot these type of threats, how people are trying to exploit you. And I think it starts with onboarding new members and just providing those resources and having it readily available for not just people in the junkyard, but for everybody else in the NFT space and community.
Yeah, because what's interesting is, and I know your trajectory is moving, further into the metaverse, doing more things. It's a big, the step is beyond just the little dog avatars that you guys are creating. There's so much more that Junkyard Dogs is going to be doing. So for that reason, you guys have to be, thinking one step ahead. Like, how are you going to protect everyone as you're moving into these new areas as well? So communication is one of the big things, right? And that's what I think is, one of the key things for a good growing community, is to make sure that you're communicating good and bad to your audience as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody's seeing the great stuff that are happening in the space, all the amazing, overnight success stories, but there's a lot of people that are losing money because they're getting scammed, and bad actors are trying to take advantage of this, So
yeah, it's a difficult space. And actually, you know, one of your community members, NFTZ777, has actually talked about, you know, he was talking about a seasoned investor and trader has basically had their money drained because of a scam. So again, going back to the fact that it can happen to anyone. And so therefore what you're doing with their NFT budgets, I suppose, is just keeping that as play money, right? They're not putting their, you know, some people will be putting their mortgages and, you know, like the cost of like huge loans and stuff into NFTs because the future is so exciting. However, you know, and always we kind of, you know, on Nifty World want to make sure that everyone knows that this isn't financial advice. It's not legal advice. It's just advice from experience, is to kind of say, you know, only spend what you can afford to lose in this. And, you know, this is, as we keep referring to, the wild, wild west. And it's something that is going to grow, it's going to evolve, and it's going to change. But the top priority for anyone who is new or even established in this space has to be to make sure that your money is secure, or as secure as it can possibly be. So, you know, you've given some fantastic tips today to really help. One of the other bits of advice that I would say is to watch YouTube videos of people who alert you to any scams. I learned about a scam on the Phantom wallet quite recently, where basically there is a small tick box which allows you to automatically accept any transactions that go through any pages, like, you know, automatically approve them. And that means there's no sort of, you know, extra level of just checking things off before you say, yes, you know, take my crypto. And actually Phantom has now addressed that and said they're going to take that tick box off. But it was like, you know, you kind of want things to go faster, so you tick that box, but it makes you more vulnerable at the same time. It's nuts how these things can happen. So buyers beware, I think, is the way to look at it.
No, 100%. Convenience isn't always the right, you know, everybody wants everything to happen really quick, right? And convenience isn't always the way to go. Just to be safe, you always, I mean, these, like, for example, with the tick box, you know, that whenever you're taking that information off, it's being saved in that, it's an extension, correct? And so it's being saved in that browser. Same thing with, like, for example, I don't want to scare anybody off, but whenever you're logging into any kind of website and there's a remember me, you know, it's recommended to never click remember me, right? Because the information is saved into your browser. And if there's any time that there's a bad actor that gets in with malware, you know, all that information is already readily available for them on the browser, and they can just easily snatch up that information.
Wow, that is quite scary. Yeah, God, I didn't even think about that. I'm always like, yeah, it's convenient if you just remember me because I keep forgetting my password. So, but yeah, I will remember not to do that in the future. Tommy, thank you so much. This has been so informative. Have you got any sort of last bits of help and information that you want to give to people before we sign this off?
Yeah, no, it still goes back to just the basic fundamentals, right? Do your due diligence, make sure you're looking at all the small details. You know, the details matter, you know, especially if you're in the Discord server, if you're talking to somebody in your DMs and they're in the mutual server, make sure you go back to the server, check to see what roles they have underneath their names and their profile to make sure that they're actually somebody on the team. Most of the time, if I'm contacting, for example, like Opensea or anybody that I need help with, I'm going to directly DM that individual that I know is an official person on the team. And then that way, since I've already had that DM history within my messages, if I get somebody trying to impersonate that individual, I already have that official one already set within my messages. So that's a good way to kind of a good preventative to watch out for that type of threats. But don't click on links. Don't
Number one.
Click on links. That's the number one, you know, just do it the long way, go back to the verified account or website or collection and do it that way. Go to the Discord server. The Discord servers for all projects will have their official link to their Opensea or their website on their pages. So just take a little bit of extra time to be safe and get that done. So
brilliant. Tommy, very sage advice. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no.
So there you have it. So much useful information. Even I learned so much from that. An incredible interview with an amazing, amazing NFT creator and co-founder who's not only built up an amazing community, but is looking to keep his all-important loyal community members safe as well. I hope you learned some really good stuff as to how to keep your NFTs and your crypto wallets safe and secure. I hope it's been really helpful. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, click that all-important bell so you get notified when there's more videos dropping. And of course, I'll be with you with many more guides and interviews in the near future. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.